From the very beginning, I talked about the need to involve all sectors of government and the whole society in building a comprehensive strategy aimed at preventing the spread of infection. And again, I cannot disagree with this scandal. Yes, ridding mankind of the cadaverous stench of capitalism is agonizing. Enraged post-capitalism is a right and duty of mankind itself, his only chance of the future. Against what given to this bastard. The main task for us is to find, innovate solutions and study experience. I remind all countries that we call on everyone to step and expand the scope of emergency response mechanisms. What is this son of a bitch about, ladies and gentlemen? He used the word pandemic as a genocidal. Swindler does not describe the pandemic itself, but the prospect of socio-economic destruction. The most interesting thing is that from the point of view of the WHO, a bunch of perverted criminals of various kinds, who also regularly eat corpses, has a right to catch up with hysteria and fear among the sheep. However, WHO is aware that the majority of the population retains the same perception of the pandemic. And therefore the public, primarily from the scientific community, expressed a sharp denial of such a free anti-scientific gag in the interpretation of the pandemic. After all, a pandemic is at least 13% of the death rate of the entire population. The bastard speech was a tool of psychological sabotage intended to cause a pandemic of fear. Lockstep, spelled out in the WHO Sonderkommando program, the psychopathic Rockefeller, is the first stage of blocking with the introduction of a hard lockdown when Europe completely fell under the post-capitalists' COVID terrorists, unlike the United States where President Trump opposed the lawlessness of genocidal scums. Rockefeller's second scenario, smart together, is when a single global process control system is being formed. And briefly about this, immediately after Gebreyesus publicly put in these pants, glamoring about the upcoming horrors, the following happens. Without bothering to change his dirty pants, the depraved declares a general mobilization, namely as solidarity fund is created to fire the big nozzle. Announces the start of the international clinical trials Solidarity to obtain global data for the most effective treatments for the disease and accelerate the healing process. At the end, we know about the genocidal uniform protocol when a patient, say, with myocardial infarction or with peritonitis does not matter with anything else, and with whatever it may be, they are treated exclusively for COVID-19 because it is so ironically spelled out in the unified protocol, and according to the protocol, all deaths and each death are recorded by a postscript from a COVID. WHO, UN, UNICEF unveil a $2 billion global anti-humanitarian response plan a la Mangel. So is the formation of a global education coalition for the sheeple, a cross between sheep and humans. Distance education essentially under house arrest. 1.5 billion students were denied right to attend school. UNESCO actually carried out sabotage in the education and the socialization of school-age children. The coalition was a protection of the rights of school children to education, unites 105 members from the UN system, having only an outward resemblance to a person. However, this is the main criteria for recruiting personnel in the so-called elite and not so power structures. The coalition also includes, of course, worthy representatives of civil society, academia, and the private sector to work around the three central topics: gender equality, distance learning, and a teacher. Further, on April 1, a version of the WHO project, the immunization agenda for the period of 2030, leave no one unattended, is published. Based on this project, an action framework is being adopted based on a coordinated monitoring of numerous health was both in the field and in peasant stalls. However, immediately there is a need for powerful resources, and that they have at their disposal is not enough. As the World Bank issue pandemic bonds, and here it is on the forefront of the fight against the pandemic, and with in the World Monetary Fund and other similar and smaller servants and prostitutes of Satan. Thus, the World Bank becomes the main financial agent and the main beneficiary of the current genocide. Notably, World Bank President David Mappes speaks at 20-person online summit dedicated exclusively to COVID on March 26, and says the bank has already approved a $14 billion relief package to address the consequences in 56 countries. In 24 countries, existing projects are being restructured to channel emergency funds. And then this God chosen us announces the bank's readiness to provide $100 million until June 2021, 350 million by the end of June 23 for the broadest task to activate the process of economic recovery and create conditions for economic growth as a fight against poverty, or clearly against the poor people. What are you talking about? We will give you guys one part to fight the pandemic, but most of it will go to that same reboot. On April 2, the World Bank approved the document, Program of Strategic Preparation of Response to COVID-19 and Proposals for 25 projects for the first phase. The general term of the Reset Zero program is scheduled by the geeks of the Antichrist until 2050. Ladies and gentlemen, it will not be boring. Thank you for your attention.